Hey guys, welcome back to another Jay the One-Eyed Gamer. We're still doing this E3 craziness, and today's episode is going to be about Nintendo and what their event plus Treehouse event is probably going to be about. Joining me once again is my friend and forever co-host, Dragon Man.
Yes! I got the role! I'm also known as Mike.
I mean, no offense, there wasn't anyone else to pull from.
Tells me not to be aggressive in the last movie. Goes after me in this one. You cut me deep.
I do, boil. I cut you deep. But, to get on track, Nintendo's doing really well so far in this generation.
Yeah.
The Switch is killing it.
They threw the Switch out there, and everybody loves it. I think their biggest misstep, though, is when they decided, hey, do you want to buy some cardboard? And they slapped the title Nintendo Labo on it and went, buy my cardboard.
I didn't honestly think that was a real thing until I saw it. I was like, oh, okay. Nintendo, I can respect you want to be innovative and creative, but you gotta realize, at what point does a video game stop being a video game?
It's not even a video game. It's cardboard. And you know what the sad part is? I sat there and I was like, who would be stupid enough to buy this?
Please tell me you didn't.
No. And then you look out and you see all these people like, I bought cardboard. It's officially licensed by Nintendo to be played with the Switch, really. But we're not going to talk about that misstep. We're going to instead talk about their new expansion to Labo, which is going to be great. I love it. It's called the Fort Edition. They couldn't get Fortnite, so they...
We look back on this years later, and Labo turns out to be like one of their best sellers, and we just have to eat our words.
No, I will end myself at that point.
But anyway, guys, we're going to talk about the usual event. Nintendo was the first to do this. They were the first to pull away from E3 and do pretty much a more intimate version of...
They do their Treehouse.
Yeah, they do their Treehouse. They do their Nintendo Direct too. And honestly, the Direct is... I think it's only like maybe 30 minutes even for the E3, but they usually show off multiple games and then they give like certain highlights to big titles that are coming out. And from what we can understand and leaks that have been going on, Nintendo is going to talk mainly about games that are going to be showing up pretty much the end of this year and probably into early next year, setting up for their fiscal year pretty much. And also it looks like they're gonna dominate bottom of this year with some of their titles like Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, dude,
that's gonna be a system selling. That's gonna crush almost anything that comes out with it.
I work with people who love Super Smash Bros, and I know that that's gonna be something that they're gonna be like, I need to take off. I'm gonna have I'm gonna need a whole vacation because that's all they're gonna play.
I'm the same way with Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get started. I think what's going to happen is they're going to start the event off with is probably... What would they start off with?
I don't watch Nintendo Directs or anything like that, so I get the feeling, because the few that I have watched, they're going to talk, they're probably going to say hello, they're going to talk about a few things. I don't know where they're going to go with it because, again, I don't usually watch it, so either they'll hit you up with something kind of soft, maybe, like, here's an expansion to, Splatoon, or maybe they'll be like, here's the expansion to Breath of the Wild, because I know they did that earlier in the year.
I think that's a safe bet. I think they'll probably start off with maybe DLC for Mario Odyssey, because I know that's a hot seller for them. I haven't personally played it, but I know some friends who have, and there are a bunch of YouTubers who have played it that I like to watch, and they've enjoyed it immensely. So I'm pretty sure it would make sense to give that like a DLC where you could probably play as like maybe Princess Peach or maybe Luigi, because we don't get to see much Luigi love.
Yeah. I know that's one of my coworkers. He talked about it because he said that one of the big things that a lot of people love about Odyssey is it's speed running. They love to speedrun that game. They've been setting, because it's a new game, because there's a new Mario, everybody's been setting new records. And I think they're only taking off, like, very small amounts of seconds between each run for some people. So, seeing an expansion for that, I would love to see how it would change that kind of, gameplay for people.
Yeah, maybe also giving Luigi or Peach different capabilities. Like, maybe Luigi has a faster run, or maybe he's got a special ability, or Peach's parasol is able to glide, or something that could probably like switch up maybe the speedrun mechanics of it. There have been leaks on Nintendo. Don't know if these are true or not. There has been speculation of another Zelda game. I think for the 3DS you talking about.
Yeah, I don't consider the leak this site to be trusted because when you look at some of the other things they leak, it was kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
I think that the reason, you know, I don't want to impugn them and say that they were entirely wrong. I think maybe they threw those in there just so that
they could,
you know, the ESA can't be like, oh, you just leaked this and that's against the law and we need to now take you to court. I think they just threw those in there as like kind of jokes so people would see it. But if it's true, they said that I think it's Link's Awakening. They're going to be doing a new one and they'll be putting that on there. I don't know how much that's true because, I mean, I think their big focus right now is
the Switch.
Because
it is literally printing them money like the Wii did.
What is that? That the Breath of the Wild, that's the new one?
Yeah.
I think they'll probably talk about more of like how they're going to expand that more than here's a new 3DS title.
Yeah, I don't see the 3DS getting much love. It might get some games, but I'm gonna say this focus will probably be Switch, like 100%, like most of the game. After that, I believe there was a rumor of a Punch-Out game,
yeah,
a new one,
a possible new Punch-Out game. They said they would show off the mechanics, how it works, new characters, but I don't know how many people want a Punch-Out game.
I think the last one was on the Wii, like, years ago.
Yeah, maybe people do. If you guys in the comments want to tell me how much you love Punch-Out, I would love to hear it. I think it's a great game. I think it's got a lot of nostalgia to it, so...
Yeah, I remember playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out when I was little. Like, that was a fun game for nostalgia's sake.
I don't know if they'll put it on the Switch.
I think they would because of the Joy-Cons.
Yeah, that
could work. The HD rumbles, because that's probably a lot better than the Wii controller, like the Wii remotes, in my mind. Other than that, they also, in the leaks, talked about a new F-Zero title, which, to be honest, I remember playing probably the old F-Zeros on, like, the Super Nintendo years ago. Fun game. I'm not a huge racing fan anymore, but I can understand why people would want it. From what I understand is it would be developed by Platinum, and that would be interesting to see Platinum do something outside of just action games. I think they could do a racing game, because they did do Star Fox for the Wii U, and I know people didn't like that, but I think if they were given F-Zero and the ability to do it like a high-stakes racing game that's super stylish, I think Platinum could do it.
Oh, they probably could. I don't know if that'll... Again, I think that was one of those kind of joke ones to throw in there.
Just because we haven't seen an F-Zero title in years. I think the last one came out on the GameCube.
They're more focused. When it comes to Captain Falcon, they're more focused on Super Smash Bros.
And speaking of Super Smash Bros., we obviously know that they're going to show off the new Smash Bros.
There's a tournament there.
Yep. So they've also got a registration if you want to play the demo at E3. If you're going to E3, you have to sign up there and you get to play the demo. Honestly, from what everyone's been saying, there's been so much speculation whether it's going to be a brand new Super Smash Bros. Title or if it's going to be the remake of the last one on the Wii U and the 3DS. I personally believe it's going to be the middle. I think it's going to be a new title, but they're going to reuse a lot of assets from the Wii U just because most of the rumors I've heard is that they're going to add more characters. They're not going to cut any characters. All the guest characters will come back because I know a lot of people love Bayonetta, a lot of people love Cloud, a lot of people like Ryu. So I think all those guest characters will show up. And there's also been rumors that Ridley might be playable, even though after all these years, like, people kept saying, oh, he's too big, he won't fit. There's also been rumors of Simon Belmont might be joining in, which I wouldn't mind because I personally like Simon Belmont. He's like my favorite Castlevania character. But with the tournament, we will be able to see it. Maybe we'll finally get a name and a release date because it is supposed to come out at the end of this year. And if I had to pick a date or a time frame, I'm going to say probably November. Just because it's that close enough to Christmas that it will literally crush almost anything that will come after it. Because let's be honest, that is a system seller. That will guarantee sell consoles because a lot of people like Smash. And I know some people haven't picked up a Switch because there is no Smash yet. Once you do, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that, you know, if they don't do it then they might try to check it out for, you know, like August or something like that. So they have absolutely nothing to challenge it for dominance on that day.
I don't think it will go that early.
Yeah, I was just suggesting it as a possibility because, again, it doesn't sound like it would, but, you know, they have other titles that they have to get out there too, like a certain tactical game.
Are you about to trigger me right now?
Trigger warning. Jay is about to fanboy out. You know, a certain Emblem of Fires has to get out here.
Yes it does. And if you remember the last video of Sony, which hopefully be up on the eye on the corner there.
Hopefully it's chronological too.
Yes. But at the end of that video, I talked about it before we did this video. I wanted Nintendo to talk about Fire Emblem because we haven't heard anything in a year since they announced it back in the February Direct for Fire Emblem.
What what exactly did they didn't even show art for it?
They didn't show anything. All they
just said
was Fire Emblem Switch. That is literally what it said.
Fire Emblem console game. So
is coming in 2018, and we have not heard anything from that point forward.
We have no details on the story. You know what?
Don't even have a name. It's just Fire Emblem.
Yeah, maybe, because there's so much speculation of what it could be. Maybe they redo the, Ike's saga and everything like that.
I would like that, but at the same time, I'd want a new game. Because as much as I like Ike, and I would love a remaster of that, but let's be honest, if I wanted a remaster, Ike's story is kind of at the bottom, only because I would want, like, Genealogy of the Holy War, which is the 4th game that never came over, 6, which is Roy's story. I would love a remake of, like, Hector, Lynn, and Elwood's story, if we're going, like, the remake route. But I think this is going to be a new title, and from what we understood so far, they said that the character models are going to be essentially taking cues from Shadows of Valentia. And Shadows of Valentia's character models on the 3DS are literally the best Fire Emblem so far in the 3D realm, and being on a more powerful, pretty much like hybrid console, I am very interested to see, because like we said, the last console outing for Fire Emblem was Radiant Dawn for the Wii back in I think like 2009.
Or somewhere in there, somewhere between 7 and 10.
Yes, it's gonna be interesting. I want to see it, and obviously if it's still coming out this year, they need to use E3 as the ability to show us as much as possible of the game. I'm talking like I want to see the main character, whether it's another avatar or it's a lore-based game. Probably just a couple like characters that come along with you, because some leaks have stated that they're going to show off like the second mission in the game, and at that point you're going to have your lord. If you're going to have an avatar, you have your avatar. You're going to have your Jigen, and at that point you usually get like 1 or 2 extra units. So,
usually I think you have like a cleric and or a spellcaster.
Usually you'll either have a cleric, you might have a spellcaster, you might have one of your cavaliers. It all depends on how they want to do it. Second chapter is usually you have at least 4 to 5 characters at that point to play with. I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with it. I don't know if they're going to bring back the magic triangle like they did in Fates and Old School, because so far there hasn't been like dark magic in a Fire Emblem game for a long time, and usually it would go anima beats dark, dark beats light. No, anima beats light, light beats dark, dark beats anima. And in the console games, they took out that and made it like fire beats wind, wind beats lightning, lightning beats fire. So it'd be interesting to see that. They might also change the mechanics themselves, because like in Shadows of Valentia, there was no weapon triangle. You just had swords, lances, and axes were just mitigated to like the bad guy's weapon. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works. I really just want to know anything about this game. I want to know the name. I want to know where it's going to be set. I want to know what the characters are going to look like. How's it going to play? Like, I just can't wait to see what this game is, and I'm finally glad it's getting...
I'm just hoping it's not like, what's that, Fates and Conquest?
Yes, I don't want that again. I don't want to have to buy a special edition for the ability to get all the versions of one game.
I think it'll be a straight through, because it's a console game. I mean...
Yeah.
You can't really split the story, and even then, I don't know, I would rather just, like, here's the whole roster. You know what I would love to see, because it is stronger, and I know they won't do it because it's Fire Emblem, but what if, you get towards the end of the game, they talk about how you have to build up your army, you have to build all these things. What if they made it so that you actually have a point to have all this army? You actually have like 3 sides, and you have to send, who do you send on this era, and then who do you send on this flank, and then who do you send on this flank, and then you have 3 boards you have to beat for the end game, and you have to spread your units out, so it's not like the center has all my good units, it has all my, sword masters, my assassin, my cavaliers who I've had since the beginning of the game.
I understand the idea behind that. The only problem is if you do that for endgame, you're gonna have to give us the ability to level grind off screen, because if not, you're gonna literally run into a problem where you may have really good units, but that just means each front they might just have 1 or 2 or 3 good units who could probably beast through it, but then everyone else would just be like cannon fodder. Like,
I think that would probably add a little bit more dynamicism to it, and make it more interesting.
I would like an approach to, like, on a map you could have different ways to do it, like instead of routing the enemy, or like maybe they give you different options, like one option lets you fight the enemies, the other option is like maybe you have to do a siege or this, like, make it so that each encounter could be different, so if you replay multiple times it could be different,
and then it could also affect the way the story works.
Exactly.
Like, that would be a great way of how you get characters. Instead of, okay, well, in this battle, you can just wipe out the whole enemy, or you could rout them. And if you rout them, the one guy who's clearly the anime, looking fellow, he'll be the one who leaves, and when you go into the net battle later, maybe he joins up with you.
Yeah, but it's very interesting to see what they could do with this. I haven't seen a console one since Radiant Dawn. I'm really looking forward to it. I just want any information on this game, like the name. I definitely want a release date. Like, hopefully they tell us it's still 2018, because I will definitely buy it. And if there's a collector's edition, and it's a good collector's edition, I might buy it, because I really love myself some Fire Emblem. But other than Fire Emblem, I think we've also got Bayonetta 3. Bayonetta 3, I feel like, is probably not going to be there.
We've also had not really any information on that.
No, because that was revealed last year at VGAs. I think Platinum's even stated that they haven't gotten to the point where they can show it off yet, because from what I understand is the English voice actress for the game hasn't even been like brought in to do lines or anything, and that's usually like one of the first things you do for a game, because it's the easiest thing to get rid of, and you can also use that to like motion lip sync with what's going on in the screen. So I think maybe it's probably just starting production. Like, they probably have the story and everything they want done.
Maybe give off a little bit more of a teaser trailer, because all we got with last time was like just the title.
Last time Bayonetta was fighting a new enemy. It looked like she got cut in half because her guns fell, and then it went to the Bayonetta symbol, and then it had like a crack 3 in the middle.
Okay, well then, give us a little bit more. Just maybe like a minute teaser.
Yeah, and then we have Retro. They're working on a game that no one knows about. Although it was leaked earlier, again, grain of salt, they might be working on a Star Fox racing game, which I don't understand why a Star Fox racing game. Do you realize that since the N64 days, not even before the N64 days, the original Star Fox, we've replayed the original Star Fox game like 3 times already. Star Fox 64 was just a remake of the first Star Fox, and Star Fox Zero was a remake of Star Fox 64. Is it really that hard?
We can't think of what we want to do. Is there even canon or lore to it? I'm sure there's going to be one Star Fox fan. Actually, sir?
I'd be surprised. But I just find it funny. Is there really nothing we can do with Star Fox other than reuse the same game?
I don't know, because again, I don't even know the lore behind the game. I just know it was spaceships flew through certain areas, dodging everything, and then at the end of it, you had to fight a guy named Wolf.
Andros.
Yeah. See, I don't even know. I don't know. How would you do another game? And
I don't know how you would do another game.
So maybe that's what the problem is. If it's so obvious, we should be able to figure it out.
Then they're probably going to talk about the Yoshi Island game. What did the leaks call it? Yoshi's...
I think it was like freaking island.
Yoshi's Flippin' Island.
Yeah, Yoshi's Flippin' Island. That's what it was.
I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of cute of a title.
I Adventure Time feel from it. 1,000 Years Dungeon! No! And that's Yoshi.
And then they could, and I'm gonna let my friend Dragonman talk about this, because I know nothing of this franchise, and he loves it to death. And that is, of course, the next Pokemon game, which some people think might come out this year. I don't think it will, because I think it will compete with Smash, and you don't really want 2 titles of that caliber fighting with each other, because they will affect each other's sales.
It will, but here's where I'm gonna go with it. That game has been so hyped up, the quote-unquote Pokemon Stars, we don't even know if that's what it's called, it's just a Pokemon Switch game. That game has been so hyped up that I think it would be fine going with, Super Smash, whatchamacallit, because Pokemon fans are so, they love that game so much, and they would love it on the Switch so badly. They are like frothing at the mouth. There's just like werewolves at the door trying to get at, what they want. You could put that game out there up against, they could be like, oh guys, we've just announced all these amazing games that everybody else wants on all these other consoles, and they'll be like, by the way, Pokemon Stars, and they will still go to that before they go to anything else.
You included?
I probably would. I would buy both. I would buy Smash and Pokemon Stars, but it would depend on what Pokemon Stars is. There's a lot of ideas of what it is. Not too many people have knocked it down. A lot of people say it's possibly a remake of the first game, but it'll allow you to go to Alola. I don't know about that. That sounds fun, but I liked Kanto more than I liked Alola. So beyond that, they pointed out that there's going to be no more 3DS Pokemon games in production current. So a lot of people were like, well, we're going to get Diamond and Pearl remakes. Well, they just said no. So they're definitely working on Pokemon Stars or Pokemon Switch, whatever it's going to be called.
As a Pokemon fan, what would you want more? Would you want a remake, or would you want a brand new Pokemon game set in a brand new region?
You know, ideally, we're going with the ideal world, hypothetical.
Oh, so best timeline?
Greatest timeline. They say, hey, here's this game, we're going to have Pokemon. It would be a combination. It would be both. You would play in the Kanto region, and then you would go to the Johto region, then you could go to Hoenn. You could go to Sinnoh, or you could go to Unova, you could go to Kalos, you can go to Alola, and then, oh yeah, here's this new area. Compared to the two, would I want a new game or what I would rather them do a remake. And the reason why is simple. All of my Pokemon are on the 3DS. And if you've ever built Pokemon for competitive play, you'll understand my pain when I say doing it on the Switch after doing it on the 3DS is too much of a pain. So I would rather just be like, okay, well, here's the remake of these games. You can get the Pokemon, but not have the crossplay of, well, these Pokemon could be sent over to the Switch, or not the Switch, they could be sent over to the 3DS. Because knowing them, here's what they'll do. They'll go, okay, well, you can send your Pokemon over, but you can't send them back. Because they've done that a lot. If you send a Pokemon to a forward game, so if you go from 6th to 7th, you can't send them back from 7th to 6th. Yeah, I would rather just be like, you know what, we're just gonna not deal with that issue. So I would love to see a Pokemon Switch game. I don't know how they do it. They've had a lot of hints of, again, like I said, first gen, because they just had their 20th anniversary. The Pokemon Ultra, Sun and Moon just had a whole big thing about Giovanni and Team Rocket. I honestly didn't play through it because it kind of was just the same game, but yeah, I mean that's where I would go with it on the Switch.
Well, I'm not a Pokemon fan, but I can understand how hyped everyone gets around these games. And I'm okay with that, because guess what? I get hype around Fire Emblem, and I can respect people when you get hyped around Pokemon, and I know Pokemon's got a bigger pedigree and a more passionate following than Fire Emblem, only because up until now, Fire Emblem has been a really niche title, and it's now just finally gotten mainstay status for Nintendo, which I'm very happy about. Another game that always been a big player for Nintendo, but not really, I think, a big seller, and that is the Metroid series. And Metroid Prime 4 was announced last year at E3, and I don't believe any other information has trickled through officially. There has, I think, been speculation, and
I think, what was that last Metroid game? Because everybody was angry about it, because they were like, "What? How is this a Metroid game?"
For the 3DS?
Yeah.
The one that Mercury Steam did?
I guess.
No, that was a remake of, I think the second Metroid game that never...
I just know there was one, and it had multiplayer in it, and...
I think I know what you're talking about. I think that was a prior game to the 3DS.
Yeah, because a lot of people were angry about that. I think that was the last Metroid game I remember looking at and going, oh, okay, that's a Metroid game.
But yeah, Samus Aran has not been, I think, present since, the Wii, because she was in, I think, Metroid Zero, which gave her that voice acting, and everyone does the meme, the baby. So, Metroid Prime 4, I remember watching that when I was younger. My brother would play them on the GameCube. I never got into them, because I'm not a big first-person shooter fan myself, but I can, again, respect why people want it, and why people like her, and why people want this game to be good. I don't know who's making it. I don't think we've got an established company that's making it. I don't think it's Retro. I don't think it's any other outsider, too. We literally don't even know who's making it. We just know it's being developed by Nintendo.
You know what? I'm going to throw it out here. If you ever look on the indie scene, a lot of games that are really getting popular are inspired by, the Metroidvania formula. Why doesn't Nintendo just go out and be like, you know what, you guys did it great, but let me show you how it's really done, and just put out a new Metroid game that's like the old school game? I
think that would work, but I think since they're doing Metroid Prime, and Prime has been a first-person shooter franchise, I think they're going to go that way.
I see where they're coming from. I'm just saying.
But I agree with you. I think that would be a really good idea, and I think they tried to do that with the 3DS version, but I think if you put it on the Switch, that will work even better.
Because they just had a very big game that came out was Dead Cells, and it is a roguelike Metroidvania game, and I think that it really, I don't know why Nintendo doesn't really kind of build off of that kind of system and things like that. Maybe get those guys to come in and make a Metroid game.
Speaking of that, we have been told that there has been no confirmation of doing a virtual console on the Switch so far. From what we're hearing is when you get the essentially Nintendo Live or whatever they're calling it, their version of like PlayStation Live and Xbox Gold, you'll be able to get like 12 like NES classic games as long as you have the subscription, and they'll also come with online features. That has led some people to believe that the virtual console might not come back, but instead this might be an incentive for people to want to get that online subscription so you can get access to these games. I think they might do that. I don't really want them to, because honestly, if they tell me they're gonna like put the GBA era Fire Emblem games and I have to do that, I'd do it because I want to play those games on my Switch, but I would rather just like them tell me they released it as a title for the Switch so I could download like Blazing Sword and Sacred Stones.
Or just put like a make just a Switch cartridge that just has them all on there.
Exactly. Or a real fan favorite, and I know it hasn't been like relevant since I think the DS days, and that's Golden Sun. I know a lot of people would really enjoy that to come back for an RPG, and I think a really great way to do that would to either put both games on a Switch title and sell it to us physically, or put them on like the store, let you download them, or do a remake of the first two games in a bundle, so that way you can like see people are interested, maybe test the waters, because don't think we have an RPG that's not like tactical RPG like Fire Emblem. I don't think Nintendo has an RPG series besides Paper Mario that people really love, and I know a lot of people growing up really enjoyed Golden Sun, so I think that'd be interesting for them to tackle some old IPs and see, just to get people interested. That's what my opinion is of it.
Yeah, I don't think there's that much.
No, it's
else,
not.
Because
this is the longest video we've done so far.
Really?
I know.
And then we're gonna get to whatchamacallit. It's gonna be like, and here's
third parties, right?
Yeah, here's like EA.
Oh God.
Ubisoft, Bethesda, and then we're done.
But that's going to probably do it all for us on Nintendo, guys. I want to thank you for watching. Please leave a comment in the description to let us know what things you are looking forward to from Nintendo. What games are you looking forward to coming from the Nintendo press conference? What are your dreams? What IPs do you want to see Nintendo bring back at E3? And how do you think the Switch is going to do for them in that mark? So, yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for, listening to us talk our awesome voices. I know how much you love that. So, we're going to sign out now from your friends here. Dragon Man.
Rock on!
Let's rock. Don't steal my shtick. Have a great day, guys.
Iggy